Brandon Ingram.
Carmelo Anthony.
Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram. Carmelo Anthony.
In the hands of Anthony.
Anthony for three.
Puts it in. Got next by one with 8.2 remaining. Lakers by 3. Ingram to win the game. Boom. Got it.
On this episode of NBA Now and Then, the greatest comparisons, we compare two fluid scorers from their respective eras.
When he got to his spot, it was a wrap. Pull-up jumper, nothing but net.
Their games smooth yet potent.
New Orleans fans have a walking bucket in this player, and they know it.
Leaving defenders alone on an island.
Their jump shooting form as pure as it is pretty.
We are eager to present to you Brandon Ingram and Carmelo Anthony. I'm Uriah.
I'm Maurice.
I'm Lucas.
And I'm Ben.
And we're here to talk NBA
Now and Then.
All right, we are back, and we have two smooth players that we're going to talk about today. Guys that come from different backgrounds, but went to really, really powerhouse colleges, different upbringings, but amazing careers. One younger, one just retired recently. We're going to get into Carmelo Anthony and Brandon Ingram. Let's start off with Maurice. Why are we talking about these two right now? What's this comparison all about to you?
Well, their games are very similar. Both mid-range jumpers, long, lengthy kind of players that fill up the bucket real quick. High potent scorers.
Ben?
Yeah, I would say offensive first, guys who can play four positions, both top two picks, heavily recruited out of high school. They went to big programs. What stands out the most is just kind of like elite offensive play.
For me, I would say it's more along the lines of just how effortlessly sometimes these guys can score. Not just a job for them, it's mechanical. Not in the way that they shoot, per se, but how they dissect the opposing defense.
Yeah, I agree with everything that everybody said, especially Lucas. I think technique and how they approach to get their shots off is quite impressive for guys their height. So, yeah, they, especially Melo, he really came into the league and took it by fire. Brandon Ingram, we'll get to him and his background. He had a unique entrance into the league playing with LA. But let's go ahead and let's get into this comparison.
First quarter, background.
We're going to look at the background of Slender Man, a.k.a. Tiny Dog, a.k.a. Humble Beast, a.k.a. Kingram. But before he got tagged those nicknames, he was born Brandon Xavier Ingram, son of Donald and Joanne Ingram, on September 2nd, 1997 in Kinston, North Carolina. His dad, believe it or not, played semi-pro ball. He was also a basketball referee at the high school and the college level. His dad was also a police officer, and he used to run a rec center in North Carolina. Ingram stated in an ESPN article about his dad running the rec center and being part of the whole sports scene, and I quote, "That kept me out of trouble a lot, because if it wasn't basketball," Brandon said, "I don't know what else I would do." As far as his high school career goes, Ingram's stats were almost 19 points a game, 8 boards, and close to 2.5 blocks. I have an over-under related to his height. Just like last time, let's go back to his freshman year, Brandon Ingram, high school. Anybody want to guess how tall he was as a freshman?
6'1".
I'll go 6'2".
I would say 6'1".
6'1"? Okay. Yeah. And the answer is 6'2". So, Ben?
We were all close.
Yeah, I knew like, because he has such like good ball handling. So typically that means they played point guard, and so they were shorter.
All right, Brandon Ingram played basketball at Kinston High School. At Kinston, Ingram helped his team win 4 consecutive state championships from 2012 to 2015. His high school career achievements include playing in the McDonald's All-American Game and the Nike Hoops Classic. He was also Parade Magazine High School All-American as well. What stands out to you, Lucas, about Brandon Ingram's pre-college years?
Until he got to college, I didn't hear much about him, which is unusual because usually I had my, you hear about the top guys. And I get that he was a top guy, but it just never really flashed until he got to college. So that's what got out to me.
Well, for me, I always go back to the upbringing because that says a lot about your character going forward, especially when you become a professional. He said his father was a cop, right? And he ran the record league, right? So
yeah, yep.
Yeah, so right there, that tells me that he was raised to a certain standard. I'll say that. Anytime you have access to a basketball court in a rec league and, you're allowed to, do whatever you want, be free and play the game that you love, you're a step ahead.
I know a little bit about this. I think there's a documentary called Basketball Town, and it focuses on that there's this kind of smaller community in North Carolina. And I know Jerry Stackhouse I believe, led the charge on players coming out of this area, Kingston. And I think that's what always has stood out to me. There's a lot of NBA players that come out of this part of North Carolina.
It's funny you mention that, Ben, because I have an audio clip that I'm going to play for you to give you an even clearer idea of what his upbringing was like. Let's check it out.
Kinston High School has a great tradition with basketball. It's been so much talent that has come through.
Coming into high school, I knew I had to prove myself, and in the summer I worked so hard, going back and forth to Atlanta to meet Jerry Stackhouse, to work out with him coming down to me, working out with his AAU team.
As a ninth grader, Brandon had the opportunity to get some big minutes.
The first time I saw him play, I was blown away by how talented he was, how skilled he was. And as I watched him over and over, the last thing that blew me away, probably more than anything, was how tough he was.
Yeah, Ben, it's like you right on time with that take on Jerry Stackhouse, because that was in the clip.
It was like a big deal just because of it's such a small community
right.
that so many NBA players have come out of this community, and like good NBA players. So yeah, that's something that always kind of stood out. And I think Brandon Ingram is when it came out, when he kind of got drafted and started playing for the Lakers.
Now, it's well known that Ingram attended Duke. When he was a freshman, he registered 7 double-doubles, and he averaged 17 points, almost 7 rebounds, and 2 assists per game. Ingram was as impactful on defense, averaging 1.4 blocks and 1.1 steals. Does anyone know who he played with at Duke that would also make it to the NBA one day?
Oh, gosh. No, that was after Julio Okafor. What team does this player currently play for?
Wow. Well, there's 2 of them. One played for the Bucks and recently got traded, I think. And then the other,
I know this.
And then the other, I think he's most well known for playing with the Clippers, I think.
Well, I know it's Grayson Allen.
Yeah, Grayson Allen's one of them, yep.
Grayson Allen's one. And
it's hard with these one-year guys on these big, because it's hard to, the one-year guys, it's hard to do.
Was he drafted in the same draft?
That's a good question.
I don't think Grayson was.
I'll tell you.
Grayson stayed back.
It's Luke Kennard.
Oh.
Luke Kennard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's a lefty, right? Luke Kennard?
Well, he's currently on the Memphis Grizzlies.
But does he shoot left-handed?
I don't know.
No, I thought he was a lefty. Or maybe I'm mixing him up with Joe Ingles. I think
you're mixing him up with Joe Ingles, because Luke Kennard's one of the best shooters, and no offense to lefties, they're not usually like high percentage three-point shooters unless your name's James Harden.
So in the NCAA tournament that Brandon Ingram played in, he did help his team advance to the Sweet 16. In the tournament, he averaged 23 points, 6 rebounds during the 3 tournament games. Now, his accolades from Duke include the ACC All-Rookie Team, the ACC Rookie of the Year, and he also made the All-ACC Team. He declared for the 2016 NBA Draft after just 1 year at Duke.
With the second pick in the 2016 NBA Draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Brandon Ingram from Duke University.
Ingram averaged better than 17 points per game, shot better than 40% from 3 for Mike Krzyzewski's Blue Devils. And according to ESPN Analytics, this is the guy that is most likely to perform at an all-star level in his first 5 years in the NBA.
All right, Ben, we'll go to you first. What stands out to you about his career at Duke?
You kind of knew his game would translate right away. So he just was one of those players, kind of like a Jason Tatum, a guy with size who is athletic, who can handle. You just knew he would fit in right away. And then when he got drafted after Kobe retired, right?
No, I
think he did.
It was his last year.
It was last year. Yeah, it was his rookie year.
No. Kobe retired in 2016, right?
Was it a 2016-17 season, or was it at the end of...
I think Ingram was the second pick they got. And so I remember being like, well, Kobe retired, but they got this guy. That draft is pretty stacked from what I remember. Being in LA, I remember like the vibes are pretty high that they got the number 2 pick after Kobe retired. So that's kind of what stood out to me, was like, oh, this guy's going to fit right in.
That was after Kobe's last game.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say this. At the time of that draft, I was having a debate with colleagues of mine that Brandon Ingram should have gone first to the Sixers. Because
revisionist history tells us.
No. You can ask Chris. You can ask Chris. Chris was my cohort at the time. He works for Fansided, but we were just contributors. But at the time, I thought Brandon Ingram was the better overall prospect. Not the highest potential, but the better overall prospect. So that's how I felt about
Lucas, you were correct.
I think. Well, was he in that draft? Was he? That's a good question. Yeah. But that's another question for another day.
It reminds me of the Odin draft, where it's like the team wanted this dominant player, but clearly the second pick, Kevin Durant, would be better. Not that Ingram is as good as KD, but
we can all say that we all knew he was going to be at least a star player in the NBA based off of what he can do on a basketball court.
Yeah, just another amazing, talented player at Duke who stayed for 1 year. I think we talked about Kyrie Irving a couple episodes ago, and went on to the NBA and is doing big things right now with the Pelicans. One thing I wanted to mention is that he has a 7'3" wingspan. So he's tall, he's lanky, but those defensive numbers that I mentioned earlier, the blocks and the steals, I think, especially at Duke, the way that Krzyzewski has his system and all the help defense that he provides with all his players. Back in college, he wasn't just a scorer, so to speak. Okay, it's time to talk about Melo, a.k.a. Hoodie Melo, a.k.a. Sweet Melon. Guys, have you heard of Sweet Melon before?
Nope.
No.
Thank you, Basketball Reference.
That
Sweet
is a weird
Melon.
one.
Yeah. But before he was tagged those nicknames, he was born Carmelo Chaim Anthony, May 29th, 1984. Carmelo is one of 3 children raised by his mother, Mary, who was a housekeeper. Carmelo's father died, unfortunately, when he was just 2 years old. Now, Melo grew up in one of the roughest neighborhoods in Baltimore. People who watch The Wire can see the environment that Carmelo Anthony grew up in, because that's what his neighborhood is famous for. Growing up, Carmelo's mom used basketball as leverage to keep him on his best behavior in school. True or false? Carmelo Anthony was cut from his varsity team at one point in high school. True or false?
Probably true, because Baltimore basketball is just really strong. So probably true.
Yeah, but true.
I'm going to zag here and say false.
Lucas, this is for you.
Oh. Well, you can't
That's
blame
for
the guy
just being different. Sometimes it's okay to go with the consensus, man.
Yeah, I did it to be different.
Of course.
It felt too easy. Like, you wouldn't have brought it up unless it was true, but at the same
Not
time,
necessarily.
I feel like... but at the same time, I thought, well, maybe he's trying to trick us.
That I do that just like you do that, and you try to trick us with your questions. But anyway,
I get questions.
Apparently he didn't have a lot of height at that point, so he was cut, and eventually, I guess by the time he was a senior, he sprouted up to be 6'5". So height definitely helped him get to the next level. So as a high school junior, Carmelo actually already knew that he would play for Syracuse. Now, unfortunately, at the time, he was struggling academically. So he had to take some summer classes, and in order for him to qualify and play under Jimmy Boeheim, he also transferred to Oak Hill Academy, which is, we all know, big powerhouse basketball school. Now, Steve Smith was his AAU coach, and he was interviewed, and I have a quote from him about Carmelo sacrificing his summer ball schedule to try and get his grades up. He said he had to give up a lot in the summer basketball camps and events that players love to attend. He would go to classes from 7 a.m. to noon, 6 days a week. And then at 2 p.m. each day, he had to meet with me in the gym. He said it would be 100 degrees with no AC, and we would work out with him for 2 hours, all by himself. Any thoughts on Carmelo in his pre-Syracuse days, Maurice?
Yeah, I mean, once again, was a player that was short, sprouted up, and all of a sudden, bam, you got a potential professional basketball player. When you have the talent, it's always going to show eventually.
Yeah.
I love the dedication. Obviously, like, him and Kobe are not cut from the same cloth, but doesn't mean that just because don't have the Mamba mentality doesn't mean that you don't work hard, because he clearly wanted basketball. It was something he always reached for. We talked about it with his mom, and practicing in 100 degrees. Guys, I tried playing pickup basketball when I was like in ninth grade outside in probably 100 degrees. I got heat stroke. Like, it was bad. I had to get, like, I was like on the couch for like 2 hours trying to cool down.
Wow.
So I can only imagine what was going through with Carmelo.
Oh, yeah. Ben?
I always forget Baltimore is not part of the DMV, but it's very close. Yeah. They don't claim it, apparently. But Baltimore basketball is really good. You even see, like, an LSU, Angel Reese. I think she's from Baltimore. Mm-hmm. And then her cousin was just drafted.
But Bogues, I think, was from Baltimore.
Yeah. I think it's similar to Ingram, and you see it with, like, the 6'9" guys with size that have these guard skills. You know, Anthony Davis a little bit, but with Melo, I think they say he's one of the greatest scorers of all time, and so I'm sure being cut from his team like Jordan was, and it sounds like he had a lot of he's got an incredible work ethic, and that's part of why he, you know, you still see it. He works out with his son. His work ethic is, like, really, really strong. I think that's what stands out.
Oh, yeah. Carmelo Anthony, the epitome of hard work, dedication, growing up in a really rough situation. I've been to Baltimore many times, and when you have entire blocks boarded up, homes, it's like endless. You're like, man, like, what's going on in the city, or at least in those communities? And Carmelo was able to ascend that and make a name for himself, and I'm sure he'll be in the Hall of Fame sooner than later. So let's get to Carmelo's Syracuse stats. Now, people probably know he only stayed for 1 year, but oh, what a year. Man, this guy had an amazing run with the Syracuse Orangemen. Now, even though I don't have his high school stats, you guys still want to hear his Syracuse stats?
Sure.
So let's start out with his regular season, his lone freshman year. Help me out with an over-under, guys. Over-under for Carmelo Anthony's three-point percentage for his regular season. Let's go with 35%. Ben?
Over.
Maurice?
I'm going to go under.
Lucas?
Under.
Ben, you are wrong. He shot 33% as a freshman at Syracuse, and that sounds about right. Because he wasn't really a pure shooter the way he had developed into when he got to the NBA. Now, his numbers or his averages are very good. He averaged 22 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, and shot 45% from the field, 70% from the free throw line. Now, most basketball fans will remember his magical run towards a national title. Let's peek at his tournament stats. So 6 games before he won the title. Against Manhattan, he had 17. Oklahoma State, 13. Auburn, he scored 18. Oklahoma, he had 20. Against Texas, he had 33 points. Quite impressive. And then the national championship against Kansas, Melo put up 20 points. All right, Ben will like this. His college accolades. Wow, he's got a lot. NCAA All-Region, NCAA Most Outstanding Player in the tournament, 2002, 2003, all Big East. 2002, 2003, Big East Rookie of the Year. Big East all freshman team, and the most important, NCAA champion. Now, after winning a national title, Carmelo would enter the NBA draft as one of the top NBA prospects in 2003.
With the third pick in the 2003 NBA draft, the Denver Nuggets select Carmelo Anthony from Syracuse University.
All right, Lucas, what do you take away from Carmelo Anthony's college career?
Look, Jim Boeheim was already really well-loved coach, but it made him a legend. After Carmelo, you had a litany of players that came out of Syracuse afterwards, and it helped recruiting for probably about 10 to 15 years, to be honest. Also, okay, he had two teammates that I can remember from that championship team. One of them was Eric Devendorf. Do you guys remember him?
Vaguely. Yeah, obviously you do.
Well, he was one of the. He was cut from the same cloth of like Jason Williams, tatted all up, white guy with the short hair.
I do remember him. Yes.
Yeah,
I never knew his name though.
Yeah, Eric Devendorf, man. Let me tell you something. The Big East had some crazy names in the 2000s.
All right,
Aaron
Lucas.
Godey. Sorry, I'm getting off track.
No. I was going to say, spell it. You're so hype about this guy.
Devendorf? Oh, Devendorf. I have no idea, man.
Well, then you're not a real Devendorf fan.
I'm not, because I watched West Virginia, but I remember that Big East at that point. And I think the other guy's name was Alex something, but I can't remember. Ben, do you remember your Big East guy?
They had a Philly guy who went to, I think, Germantown Friends as their power forward. They actually had a really loaded team, and he actually was almost a lottery pick. What's his name?
You're talking about Hakeem Warwick.
Yes, Hakeem Warwick.
Yes,
yeah, he was on there. There was another white guy on the
point
team.
Point guard.
Well, not Devendorf. No, Devendorf was the point guard. There was another I think he was the shooting guard. I can't remember. He could
I know
shoot.
Who you're talking about. They had some talent because
they had some talent.
Who's the guy from Harry Potter? Dumbledore,
guys, come on.
The whole time I'm thinking about, as soon as you said that name, I'm like, what is Harry Potter doing in this episode?
Lucas, are you talking about Gary McNamara?
Yeah, McNamara. That's who I was thinking of. Gary McNamara. Man, he was a college legend, man.
It is interesting. Because Syracuse always had good players. Like if you look at their, like Derek Coleman went there.
Yeah,
they've always had like guys that
Johnny Flynn.
And I think a lot of them didn't really turn out in the league. Melo kind of broke that trend.
Yeah. Maurice, what about you? What stands out to you about Carmelo's college career? And you're not allowed to mention Dumbledore.
No, I'm not. I don't think I can pronounce it right.
Yeah.
Devendorf, guys, it's not that hard.
Well, I will say this because you played the clip of the draft, and 2003 is one of the better draft classes that we've seen so far in the NBA. We saw the sensation of LeBron James. His high school games was broadcasted on ESPN, and all I could say at that time was, I was like, okay, LeBron is probably the consistent number one, but Carmelo was probably the best collegiate player. Mm-hmm. Now, Detroit fumbled it with the number two pick.
Can you imagine if they would have gotten Carmelo? That dynasty would have lasted another 5-6 years.
They were on the cusp of a championship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They couldn't. LeBron wouldn't have had a chance to get to that 2007 finals. Not a chance.
No, that would have been like drafting Duncan as far as like impact, because they had the coach. Didn't they win his rookie? What did they win? They won in 2004, right? Yeah, they won in 2004. Yeah. So they would have won his rookie year.
And Darko was a non-entity on that team.
No.
Ben, did you talk about Melo's college?
No, I talked about. I jumped in on like Dumbledore. No, I'm kidding.
Ben, go ahead.
Devendorf.
I mean, we got the elephant in the room, man. The fact he didn't go 2 is just, unbelievable. That because LeBron was gonna. We're kind of in that 2003 draft right now. I won. I picked the 3 seed Syracuse my senior year of high school, and I won some money on Syracuse. So,
okay,
only time I ever won, but I just want to give that a shout out. And Carmelo, much like KD at Texas, was just the most dominant college player by a long shot. And so the fact that he didn't go number 2 was just kind of because he was he wasn't as good as LeBron, but he was a more polished scorer. So that 03 draft, they say, is one of the best ever. So
could you imagine what type of player he could have more complete? Not saying that Carmelo was bad. He's a 75 top, Hall of Fame, all that stuff. Imagine getting coached by Larry Brown. What type of defender he would have became, and more selfless player.
He might have been held back because of all the talent on that team. But I just want to say, I remember watching the championship game. Of all places, I was in the gym and I'm working out by myself and I'm watching it on this like little TV. And I remember seeing Carmelo play and just go off in that championship game. And I thought, wow, this kid is going to be special. And to Ben's point, what was Detroit thinking? And his career just took off right away. I think being at Denver was the best thing for him because it might have delayed his development with lack of playing time, even in the Larry Brown system in Detroit.
Well, would he have overtaken Tayshaun Prince as a starter? That's a good question.
Second quarter. Statistics.
Brandon with 2 on the clock for the win. Got it! 2/10 of a second to go. Timeout, Utah. Brandon Ingram coming through the press run again. Do your thing, B.I. Catch and shoot as we watch the replay.
I tell you what did we say in the beginning of the game? Because the way the Utah Jazz guard that pick and roll, Brandon Ingram understands. You can put Royce O'Neal on me. You can put Bogdanovich on me. You can put Joe Ingles on me. I can still get to my spot and elevate. He has been fantastic this game and even better in the second half.
There's no one on the floor for
Gotta go.
the Oklahoma City Thunder that can guard Brandon Ingram. No one.
Man, he gets
There's no one on the floor that can guard Brandon Ingram right now, and he knows that. About the 4 for 21 performance that he had against the Lakers, and he is aggressive tonight. I love it.
Postseason this year, we'll see, but he's coming back better next year.
Ingram flushes it down and then lands.
So those are some highlights of Brandon Ingram. Let's get into the numbers now. He's listed at 6'8", 190 pounds, a little bit on the thin frame, but we talked about that already. He's worn 14 at both of his stops with the Lakers and now currently with the Pelicans. Just some interesting stats here. Should note that for his career, he's at 19 points per game. Now, I have a fun over-under for you guys. Is he in the top 100 for points per game average for his career? I'll start with Maurice.
And you said it's 19?
19.2 to be exact.
I'm going to say yes.
Ben?
Yes.
I agree with everyone. I'm going to say yes.
He is 95th in points per game all time in the NBA. That being said, let's go into his best year. His best season came in the 2019-20 season when he made his one lone All-Star appearance so far. He averaged 24 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, half a block, 3 turnovers, while shooting 46% from the field, 39% from the three-point line, and 85% from the foul line. All right. Over under 50 points as a career high. Uriah.
I'm going to go over.
Over.
I'll go under.
Maurice is the only one correct.
Oh.
49 points as a career high during that season, actually.
Okay.
Career high 15 rebounds, career high 13 assists, 4 steals, 4 blocks, 7 turnovers. And he also, and I'm going to start doing this now, he's been top 20 in points per game twice in his career, 2019 through 2021. So that's just some stats there. What do you guys think? I'm going to start with Maurice.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that his career points per game is only 19. I would have thought it was maybe 22, 23.
Well, he started out slow. If his rookie year, he was only 19 years old, and he averaged 9.4.
Yeah. It took him some time to develop, but his game really did round out as he got a couple years into the league.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, when you come into the Lakers, you're drafted into the Lakers at 19 years old in Kobe Bryant's shadow. It's going to be a little tough sledding, but he's grown really well.
I agree with Maurice a lot. We kind of know him as a player now, but it took him a couple years to develop and find his place, and he really did in New Orleans. I think he had the opportunity. There's a lot of pressure with Lakers. They want you to like be a championship team right away, even when you're rebuilding. When they were rebuilding during and after Kobe, I think they had a ton of top 3 picks. It's interesting thinking back to Brand. Like, what if they kept all of them? I know we're not talking about that, but like with Brandon and Lonzo Ball and everything. But I think what stands out to me is the 13 assists, I would say, because that shows that he can play the point guard, and he showed that in that Phoenix Suns second round when he kind of carried them against Phoenix. He took them to 6 games.
Yeah, just to build off that point, not counting this current season, the last 4 seasons, he's averaged over 4 assists a game. Last 2, he's averaged over 5.
Ben stole my point. So I'm out here in the cold.
I saw you there. I was like, oh shit, I said something. Yeah.
No, how would you know, right? That was like, that stood out. I was like, and you were talking about the Kobe shadow. I was like, that was a good point. And I'm like, I'm going to get assists, but I'll just go ahead.
I'm here in LA, and like, I have to be honest with you guys, like when the Lakers like get swept, their fan base they're like, we should have kept that core together. Like, they go places. We shouldn't have traded. Like, so they always bring up Brandon Ingram.
Honestly, maybe
whenever he balls out.
But the thing is, they wouldn't have developed under LeBron James into the players they are now.
Right.
Yeah.
Lay GM, right?
They want a chip. Yeah. They want a chip. Yeah.
Well, look, Brandon Ingram, I'll just echo that point because that is impressive. And I think 13 assists is a career high when you're known as a scorer. It just proves that he has the capability of distributing and being unselfish. On the current team he's on now, he has weapons just as good as he is offensively. So maybe those 4 assists a game, like Lucas mentioned, that could be a pattern that develops or continues.
You know, the crazy thing is he's probably not even. So their point guard is CJ McCollum, and I'm stealing Maurice's here for a second. I'm sorry, Maurice. And his star teammate is Zion Williamson. I think he's better playmaker than CJ, and you could argue it's either him or Zion. Who's better with the ball? Maybe Zion, but still, you could have 3 guys that are averaging around 5 assists a game, 5, 6 assists a game. That's a win for the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Three on 2 for the Nuggets. Oh, Carmelo Anthony able to put it down.
Waiting to shoot it. Barnes trying to check Anthony. Good head.
Oh, take that twice.
They're down 7. He stabs at Williamson and bangs it up.
So those were just some highlights from Carmelo. Let's get into the numbers. So surprisingly, I always saw 6'8" on like NBA games and NBA stuff. But according to Basketball Reference, he's listed at 6'7", 238 pounds. His numbers varied from team to team. With the Nuggets, he wore 15. With the Knicks, Thunder, Rockets, and Lakers, he wore 7, and then before he got to the Lakers, he played with the Blazers, where he wore 00. Carmelo Anthony played a very long time, and I'll be honest, guys, it was not easy to choose one of his best seasons, but I'm going to go with the season that he led the league in scoring. That would be the 2012-13 season. If I remember correctly, the Knicks actually made a pretty deep playoff run that year, and I think it was with Tyson Chandler and Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah.
I forget who the point guard was. Was it Baron Davis or was it somebody else? Lynn Sanity? I don't know. Anyway, so that season, he averaged 29 points, 7 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1 steal, a half block, 2.5 turnovers, while shooting 45% from the field, 38% from the three-point line, and 83% from the foul line. For his career highs. Now, I think some of us would remember these because, let's be honest, some of these were epic, especially because they happened in Madison Square Garden. Over, under, 60 points.
Over.
Over.
Yeah, that was an easy one, guys. He also had a career high 15 rebounds, including a 12 offensive rebound game one year back in 2007 and 8.
Wait, 12 offensive rebounds?
Oh, sorry. My mistake.
That's like
12
NBA
offensive
record.
rebounds is correct.
Oh, it is?
I had a career high of 15 defensive rebounds. Career high total rebounds is 22.
Okay.
Career high assist 11. Career high steals 6. Career high blocks 4. Career high turnovers 10. Just to put it out there, points per game career, Carmelo's 37 at 22.5. And for total points, is he over or under 10th all time in total points, guys? Let's see if you guys can remember this.
Over under?
Yeah, total. NBA, ABA. Points ever.
Under.
I say under.
Over.
He is 11th all time.
Oh, okay.
11th all time. Sorry, Ben. Look, nice try, though. If we were going purely NBA, it'd be over.
Okay.
But when they do, points of all time, they include ABA guys. I don't know why, but they do. So, yeah. Also, interesting fact, total rebounds, he's in the 100s.
Mm-hmm.
He's 91st all time, total rebounds, which for a guy, you don't really think Carmelo as a rebounder, but he is. Besides that, he did have one year that he averaged more points per game than that when he led the NBA in scoring, which was his fourth season when he averaged 29. Well, he also, so his career year technically was 28.7. His best year scoring was 28.9. Let me start with Maurice. Maurice, what are you taking away from this?
What stands out to me was it didn't take Carmelo long to be a dynamic scorer in the NBA. And if we talked about this before on a couple podcasts where we have guys who are it's just easy for them to get a bucket. And Carmelo coming out of Syracuse, we remember those Denver teams, and he was a walking bucket pretty much straight out of his rookie year. We talked about Detroit. Maybe that would have changed things. Maybe, but he definitely had the opportunity in Detroit. Even when a guy who's an all-time great scorer like Allen Iverson comes to the organization, the Denver Nuggets organization, and Melo is still putting up consistently the same numbers. And then when he goes to New York, does the same thing. It's just easy for him to score.
I think the percentages, it stands out to me because I think Brandon Ingram is in that same range for his best season, like mid 40% from the field, high 30% from three. And the thing that Maurice mentioned really strikes my memory in that scoring wise, he could do it from anywhere on the floor. In terms of post game, he was a beast. Pull up mid range, he was a beast. He'll pull up and shoot a three in your face, no problem. Or he can just drive the lane and yam it on you like the best of them. So dynamic scorer, played for a long time, like Lucas said. And it was surprising, Lucas, I'm glad you brought up that he's in those top tiers in terms of overall rebounds and points throughout NBA history. And that's why he's going to go down as one of the best scorers ever to put on an NBA jersey.
The 22 points kind of surprises me because he came out averaging over 20 points right away. But because he played so long trying to win a chip, that he was like a six-man kind of only the last few years. So I remember his career averages were always around like 25, 26 for a long while. So the 22 for his career, I think, is what stands out. I remember being a lot higher for a long time.
Well, I will say this. He was averaging at least 21 points per game outside of his second season until the last 5 seasons of his career. Even then, he was averaging between 16 and 13. Most of the time 13, so it's not like, even though he was being used as a reserve, though there was one year in Portland that he started all 58 games. That was the year after the Houston stuff went down.
I'll say this. Carmelo, we're assuming that he doesn't play any more NBA games. He's finished his career with 28,289 points.
Yes.
Now, LeBron, who's now the all-time leader, has, as recording, 38,000.
Yeah.
So Do you guys really think he could have at least cracked top 5 if he was more consistent, took care of himself and had opportunities to score in the NBA instead of becoming a journeyman?
Yeah, didn't he not play for a year before Portland picked him up?
No, he just didn't play for the rest of that Houston year, and he missed half of that. Oh, not half. He played 58 games with Portland after that Houston year, but Houston really ruined him.
How many games did he play in Houston, Lucas?
10.
Yeah, see, that's like 1,000, 1,500 points right there. That jumps you up a lot.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Maurice. Yeah.
That was a weird year. That was a whole weird experience.
That was a Daryl Morey thing.
Third quarter, accolades.
And Brandon Ingram joins us now. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Hey, when you look at the body of work it took to do what you did, and you increased your scoring from about 18 up to 24 this year, made more threes this year than you had in your career. What was it you did in the off season that prepared you for the upcoming season that resulted in this award?
First, I want to say to God be the glory. Without him, I wouldn't be healthy. I wouldn't have a chance to get back on the basketball court. I think it goes back to last March, me getting injured and not being able to be back on the court until September. And that's very little time to come into and start preseason and start the regular season. But I was ready for it. And since day one, coming in, talking to Alvin Gentry, David Griffin, and some of the trainers on the team, I just wanted to put in my work every single day and just get the best out of it. And this year, and Alvin Gentry gave me a good opportunity to just go out there and do what I wanted to do.
Okay, that is Brandon Ingram. It's a short list. So, what award do you guys think that was?
Most improved.
All right.
I concur.
All right, Lucas?
I will third that motion.
All right, yeah, in 2020, Brandon Ingram was the NBA Most Improved Player. That was his first year with New Orleans. So right away, he kind of came in and kind of dominated. Was that the year? Did they have Zion that year? Or was Zion drafted the next year?
Yeah, he was drafted a year later.
He was drafted in 2020? Okay. So small list. Again, as we said before, Brandon was kind of developing his game. He was 18 when he was drafted. He was part of that rebuild Lakers, and they kind of gave it up for Anthony Davis. So he kind of got a fresh start in New Orleans. He just turned 26 in September, so he's still fairly young. What other major award do you guys think he has accomplished?
I'll go with All-Star.
Okay.
I concur.
Lucas?
Yet again, third the motion.
Same year, he was the 2020 NBA All-Star. And his third NBA accolade was he was the All-NBA Rookie Second Team in 2017 with the Lakers. The biggest thing with Brandon is if you look at his stats, he's averaged over 20 points quite a bit in the last few years. And he's efficient too. And he gets rebounds, he gets assists. The biggest thing with him is games played. I think that's why he probably would have, I think, another All-Star appearance, potentially even an All-NBA appearance, maybe third team, had he played. There's only 1 year he played more than 70 games. That was actually his rookie year. Every other year he's playing like 50-something, 62. Last year he only played 45.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Small list. Again, this guy's got a lot of potential. So,
yeah. One quick correction. Brandon Ingram did play with Zion his first season.
He did. Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Actually, he won't lead the NBA in scoring. I forgot. As long as he plays with Zion. What did you guys think about his accolades so far? I'll start with you, Lucas.
I feel like he maybe deserves another All-Star nod up to this point, but they're going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially the West isn't the strongest with forwards. During this era, they're pretty guard heavy, so I think he deserves another nod.
Yeah, he should have another All-Star appearance, but he's still young, so he's going to – I think at this point people recognize what his game is. Zion may take some of that shine away from him, but if the Pelicans, and I do believe the Pelicans will be a competitive team, Brandon Ingram is going to get the accolades that's coming to him. Too talented not to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. if I were to think about what Maurice just said, is Zion taking shine away from him? I think it's not so much shine as it is touches, because now you have CJ McCollum in there. For him to make an all-star team again, I think he has the talent, Lucas. He has the skill, Maurice, but I just don't think he'll have enough numbers that will warrant the voters to get him into an all-star
Well, here's another
game.
thing stopping him. It's hard to give a team that's barely in the playing conversation more than one all-star player. The Pelicans have to be at least a top 5, top 4 team in the West in order for him, because it's not going to be just him. It's going to be him and Zion to get all-star but nods.
Okay, that's good. That's a good point. I can agree with that.
Yeah, it's only going to get harder because you got Wemby and Chet now in the West, so it's going to be harder to get that forward spot.
Carmelo Anthony. Congratulations, Carmelo Anthony. The NBA looks forward to honoring the ongoing commitment and efforts of players in naming this year's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Social Justice Champion and finalist during the 2021-22 NBA postseason. Once again, a big round of applause for Carmelo Anthony and the captain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Little different than Ingram. We've got a potentially retired player.
I think it's safe to say that he's retired.
Yeah. With a, what do you have, 18-year career, Carmelo?
Yeah.
19-year career?
Let's see.
I think 19 technically because he retired. All right, let's start it off. I'm going to ask a question. How many all-star teams do you think Carmelo has made? I'll start off with you, Uriah.
Wow. I know it's a lot. Let's go with no. Let's go with 10.
Let's go 13.
Lucas?
Hang on, I'm doing the math in my head. He didn't make it until his 4th season. Then he missed one more in the span between then and the end of the Knicks. The end of the Knicks happened in 2015. I'm going to say 11.
Lucas had your math was correct there, but it's 10.
What?
It is 10. That is surprising, the numbers he was putting up, and the Nuggets were pretty competitive, that he didn't make it till 07. I'm curious of, he was in the West. That is interesting.
I was about to say, because you had Tim Duncan, KG, Dirk,
yeah, you're right. They were still in their prime. You're right.
Chris Webber for maybe 1 or 2 of those years. Who else was in the West that was considered a forward? Pau Gasol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Never mind. There you go.
Yeah.
There you just named 6 guys. So Carmelo is a 10-time NBA All-Star. 2007, 2008. Lucas is right. He missed the 2009 NBA All-Star. That might have. I don't know.
That
if
was
that
42 points per game. I don't know why they did that then, because it wasn't like he missed a lot of games that year.
Yeah, and then he made 8 straight from 2010 to 2017. So he is a 10-time NBA All-Star. He is a 2-time All-NBA second team. He's never made the first team. He made the second team in 2010, 2013. And he's a 4-time All-NBA third team. He made it in 2006, 2007, 2009, 2012. So from 06, he made the All-NBA team in 06 and wasn't an All-Star. From 06 to 2013, 1 year he missed the All-NBA team. Has Carmelo, we kind of answered this, how many scoring titles has Carmelo won? Lucas?
1.
I think 1.
Yeah, and 1.
1? All right. That is correct. In 2013, he was the NBA scoring champion. He was the 2004 NBA All-Rookie First Team. In 2021, he is the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Social Justice Champion Award. That is what Uriah was playing.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on the Lakers then. He is the NBA 75th anniversary team, I just have to say, because we already said it. And this is a good one, actually. How many Olympics games has Carmelo been a part of?
Ooh, games or
teams?
Teams, my bad. Teams.
Okay, so let's see. He was in Greece 2004. He was in Japan 2008. I say 4.
I say 3.
Lucas, you were correct.
Yes!
And I think this, to me, this was the most impressive. He and by the way, that 04 team, He was part of the Redeem team in 2008. And he was part of that 2004 team after his rookie year.
He wasn't going to be on that team, but a lot of, like, over, 32 players backed out or something?
Yeah. And then So that, to me, just shows his longevity, his scoring ability, and his just, like, actual skill set.
Isn't he,
it translated through his like athletic ability, if that makes sense. Like he just had so much basketball skill that he was able to play on 4 Olympic teams.
And he won 3 gold, right? 3 golds.
3 gold, three in a row gold after that 2004 disaster, the bronze. But yeah, a 3-time gold medal winner.
Isn't he either first or second all time and scoring for Team USA, I want to say?
I actually don't know.
That is a good I didn't even think about looking up Team USA stuff, but I think it's either him or Durant. That's number 1.
And in the NBA, I know Lucas had the ABA NBA, but if you just count NBA, he is ninth all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll just pass it on to you guys. Maurice, what stands out to you with Carmelo's accolades?
He could have been more than a 10-time All-Star. Now, that one anomaly year, his production was a little down. I don't know why. I think we know how great Carmelo Anthony is. He's a future Hall of Famer. I'm shocked about the All-Star appearance. What really stood out to me was a 4-time Olympian. At that point, you become an elder statesman to the younger players when you're in the Olympics. I'll hopefully one day we hear the stories about some of the knowledge Carmelo instilled on some of the younger Olympians going forward.
Yeah, my take has to do with the whole concept of scoring. As much as he could score and did score, and the many ways that he could do it, I would think that he would lead the league more than one time in scoring. Now, he was always up there near 30 points, but because the league is just filled with great scorers during his era, he just got it once. And I think it's a good point to look at his Olympic accolades, because that's a big deal, because the NBA now, or at least the basketball scene globally, is much more competitive. So it's not like he was on the 92 Dream Team and all the international teams couldn't touch the United States. So for him to make those teams and get all those medals, I think that's something that he definitely should be proud of, despite not winning a championship.
What stands out to me is that he's never made an All-NBA first team. And I think that goes back to how they voted back then. Because remember, back then, until very recently, position mattered. So even though they had 2 forwards and a center, they still kept to 1 power forward, 1 small forward. And of course, who was always the best small forward in the NBA during that time?
That's LeBron.
LeBron.
Right?
So
yeah.
And they're always, and during that time, it was prime Tim Duncan years, right? And if not Tim Duncan, maybe Kevin Durant or somebody else. Like, there was always somebody else where he was always second, or Dirk.
Yeah.
You know, there was always somebody else. And part of it was team success. Because you guys asked me what happened in that 2008 season. Well, the Nuggets were 6th in the NBA. Maybe that had to do part of it. I'm looking up the All-Star game now to try to see who was on that West team. That West team was pretty loaded. The only player that you could say that probably should have been ahead of him, that he should have been ahead of, for sure, David West. That season was the year that New Orleans Hornets looked pretty good at that time. So
yeah, it's Chris Paul was on that team.
Chris Paul, Chauncey Billups. So his teammate got it because Chauncey was on that team. Right. Chauncey got an All-Star nod. Maybe it wasn't even injury though. That's the thing. He only missed 66 games, so it shouldn't have been an injury. Yeah, you had Chauncey, Kobe, Tim, Hal, Yao, Dirk, Shaq, Tony, Chris Paul, Brandon Roy, Amari Stoudemire, David West.
Yeah, I think, Lucas, just to land, I'm with Uriah, by the way. He should have more, like, especially early on, because he actually averaged 29 in one of the Iverson years. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there's no reason he should have. But I guess those Knicks teams were pretty deep. So I think he had to spread the wealth a little bit more. Didn't they have like J.R. Smith? They had some like fringe all-stars. So,
I mean, look, the NBA loved Chauncey Billups after he won that. And to be fair to Chauncey, that season he did average 17, 6, and 1.2 steals. So, like I said, NBA loves Chauncey Billups.
Fourth quarter, teammates.
And I said, look, bro, I played with a bona fide killer in Portland, a guy who can shoot from 50 feet out. I said, do not worry about me. I always figure out how to eat. You eat first. You go be aggressive, go get 30, go get 40. Don't worry about me. I came here to help you, to help Z, to help Willie, to help take us to the next level. But for us to get to the next level, you have to be great. And I have to let you be great. And we had the conversation. The next night, he went and got 35 or 36. And then he looked at me and he was like, I said, look, I'm going to always figure it out. I said, go be who you are and don't be afraid of your greatness. Don't be afraid of that next step. And he showed that next step in the playoffs against the Suns where he was unguardable, right? Like he did whatever he wanted. He's unbelievable, bro. Like his work ethic, his skill set, he can pass, he can run a pick and roll, he can guard in now.
All right. That was CJ McCollum talking about his current teammate, Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram, before we talk about the Pelicans, though, Brandon Ingram was drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers. Immediately, his first two teammates that I will speak of is actually two players that we featured on this podcast, Metta World Peace and Jordan Clarkson. Julius Randle, Kyle Kuzma, that was a year later. Now, the Lakers had some really young talent. Now, they kind of got him shuffled around, moved around once Le GM came to the Lakers. But after Kobe, they started to build something. Now, then they moved on from that, but more young talent. D'Angelo Russell, Nick Young, Lou Williams was on that team as well.
Nick Young was not a young talent at that point, my man.
Well, I mean, he was still a good player. I mean,
he was still a good player, but he was not young.
He was in there. But anyway, I digress. Thanks, Lucas. Alex Caruso played a season with Rajon Rondo. I think we forget that, and I'm a Rajon Rondo fan. Reggie Bullock, and the list kind of weans from there. But he did play one season with LeBron James. Mm-hmm. Who has won the most games with Brandon Ingram? I'm starting with you.
I'll go with Julius Randle.
Lucas?
Come back to me.
Ben?
On the Lakers, Jordan Clarkson.
Lucas?
Yeah, I'm going to agree Jordan Clarkson.
Actually, Josh Hart.
I was thinking Josh Hart. I was like, no, they weren't drafted the same year, were they?
Now, I will say this. Josh Hart, now, I'm using Real GM. So they have Josh Hart because they played with Josh Hart with the Lakers and Pelicans. So they have them combined.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, so that's easy.
Yeah. So it's 110 wins with the two of them.
Okay. Who's the next one up?
Lonzo Ball.
Yet again, that they played together in both places.
Yeah, we kind of forget about Lonzo Ball because, he's had some recent injuries. But so we move on to the Pelicans. He's traded, like I mentioned earlier, he was traded for Anthony Davis in a big blockbuster trade that led the Lakers onto a championship. And on the Pelicans team, CJ McCollum, like we just heard in the clip, Zion Williamson. I mean, those two right there are pretty much the Pelicans' big three currently. Other players, Larry Nance Jr., JJ Redick played a season with two seasons with the Pelicans.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Bledsoe, Garrett Temple, Steven Adams, and Drew Holiday. So I say this to say that Brandon Ingram has played with a lot of talented, high-caliber players. Apparently, it's rubbing off on him because not only is his potential his skill set is keep rising. For all intents and purposes, he's doing pretty well off the court. Just keeping a level head and staying straight and narrow. So let me ask you guys: when it comes to the Pelicans, and I ask this question with the younger guys because we don't know how their potential is going to go. So let me ask you guys: do you guys think the Pelicans can be a contender in the Western Conference going forward, at least in the next season or two, currently constructed? Start with Ben.
I can answer that in a way that like talks about Zion, I guess. Or
no, look, what do you guys think of the current constructed roster that the Pelicans have? Can they be a contender in the Western Conference this season and going forward?
Yeah. It's all about health, but yeah, they have the pieces. The thing about Brandon Ingram is we talked about it with the 13 assists. He has the skill set like a Tatum or a Durant. You can just plug in. He's a tall guy who can play 4 positions. You can just plug him in. He can create his own shot. He can play defense. He can distribute the ball well. He can handle. He can play point forward. So, I mean, he's the perfect player to have on your team. So I think
there's a lot of teams that would like a Brandon Ingram on there.
Yeah. And you see that, like, let's be real. Like, especially in the Eastern Conference, the teams that have been coming out, the Celtics, the Heat, it's wing heavy, and a player like him, just like that's all it is. Like, and so he's proven he's a good playoff player. He averages over 27 points in playoffs, and I mean it's a small sample size. So I think. Yeah, they can be a contender. We saw that last year early, if healthy. And I actually like the fit with CJ McCollum and Zion. It's just, can they just stay healthy?
Yeah, I mean, like Ben said, it's all about health. If he and Zion can stay healthy in their supporting cast, they're already struggling with injuries coming out the gate. So it's not a good start. But who knows? If healthy, they're a top 3 team in the West.
Yeah, Zion, I think, is the key. As much as Ingram and CJ McCollum are impactful in the perimeter, I think Zion really takes the pressure off them to score, from those long-range shots that they typically take. But, of course, health is paramount, like you mentioned. But I think they can get past the play-in and have a decent record. If these guys stay together and they get a nice full season to get some continuity, I think they can contend maybe for like conference semifinals, maybe finals, conference finals. I don't see them making it all the way, but I think health is a key component.
I was like 32, into my prime, still good, but I can't really carry the team. But he could carry it every night. And so I really needed him. You know what I mean? I really needed him, and he was unstoppable.
People don't understand he could give it to you on 3 levels, however you wanted it.
I mean, it was incredible. This dude was the most talented dude I ever seen, ever played with. And I needed him at that time in my career, and he obviously needed me too. Mm-hmm. So it was it was literally perfect. And he listened, and Melo, he never missed a practice. He practiced hard. He come to work every day. It was beautiful. I just was like, damn, why they can't get over the hump? But then, you start to just make people refocused. And I come, and you know how I come. Mm-hmm. You know how I am anyway. I'm every day with it. So I think they kind of understood.
All right. Was that Amari Stoudemire?
No. Anybody else know who that was?
Chauncey Billups.
Yeah, that was Chauncey.
I don't know why I have Amari in my head. It sounds similar. But anyway, let's talk about Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo was drafted in 2003 NBA draft to the Denver Nuggets. And Carmelo had some good leadership, I'll say, coming into the league. It seems like this first person has played on half the teams in the league, has played with one superstar or another. Andre Miller.
He's been like the professor.
Yeah.
He's been everywhere.
Utah.
Yeah, he's been everywhere. Andre Miller, Chris Birdman Anderson, of course, Allen Iverson. That team didn't work as well as we all thought it would. I mean, that was towards the end of Iverson's prime years, but I thought they would at least contend for a conference title with the two of them, but it really didn't work out. Actually, he played one season with Byron Russell. That was a name that threw me off.
Yeah.
Byron Russell. Weird. Who's?
The Utah Jazz.
Oh, come on now, Lucas.
Byron
Michael
Russell.
Jordan's final shot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm young.
Wait, is it Brian Russell or Byron Russell?
Byron Russell.
Oh, okay.
He's the guy that MJ crossed up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. John Barry, Al Harrington, Wesley Persons, and Joe Smith, And it kind of wanes out from there. And Juwan Howard as well. What are you guys' opinion on those Denver Nuggets teams with Melo? I thought they could have been more competitive with the talent they had around them. Now, this is in the Western Conference, like in the mid-2000s, where you had the Lakers and you had the Spurs. But I always thought the Nuggets could have competed a little bit more for at least a conference championship.
So you know how sometimes you have good coaching, but the chemistry isn't there with the players and the coach? Mm-hmm. I think that's what happened. Because I don't think the players vibed with George Karl, who was the coach at the time. George Karl is a great coach, but I don't think the chemistry with the coach was ever there.
Yeah, I don't think there was enough defense on those teams earlier in his career, because I think earlier in his career was when he had Iverson, the very end of his prime,
and
then he had Chauncey. I think it was too much offense, from what I remember.
Nobody was more disappointed that I know of when Iverson was traded and teamed up with Melo and it didn't work out. I thought that was a great 1-2 punch, but like Ben said, it just wasn't enough defense. And all those teams in the West, they were too good to deal with a team that was just straight offense, which is what Denver was. I thought that Marcus Camby was on one of those teams, and he was a decent rim protector.
Yeah, Marcus Camby, Nene, Linus Kleza, Anthony Carter. I could go on.
Point is, I think Melo or Carmelo Anthony, I think that team underachieved because they could have went farther than they did.
Yeah, I agree. So let's move on to the Knicks. I think we remember more so the Knicks Melo because, me personally, in my opinion, I think that was his prime years with the Knicks. Carmelo in Madison Square Garden was always something to see when he had a primetime game. Some of the Knicks players that played with Carmelo Anthony: Amon Shumpert, Tyson Chandler, Amari Stoudemire, Jason Kidd for one season, 2012-2013. Jeremy Lin, you all remember Linsanity.
Yeah, he was not happy about that.
Yeah. As soon as Melo was healthy, Linsanity was over. But it was fun to watch. It was very enjoyable. I'll say that. Derrick Rose, Mike Bibby.
I forgot that he was on
about
Knicks.
that.
Yeah. 2011-2012 season. Joakim Noah, Baron Davis.
Yep.
Kurt Thomas, I can go on and on. Once again, another name, Meta World Peace, was on the Knicks team. It seemed like he was everywhere, too.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Melo had more talent on the Knicks than he did on the Nuggets, which is crazy to say.
I don't know about that. Most of the guys you talked about were past their primes and at the end of their careers.
Tyson
Chandler.
Okay, but I'm talking about Jason Kidd, Baron Davis, Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah, but you got to look at J.R. Smith in his prime. Amari's still in his prime.
Amari was Chandler, at the end of his prime.
Derrick Rose definitely. He had some injuries.
Yeah, Derrick Rose. That was the trade after he left Chicago. He went to New York, and he looked terrible that first time around.
All right.
I don't know. I think, Amari was past. Yeah, you're right. But I thought that team, they won 54 games the 1 year.
Yeah, Mike Woodson did a good job. Kudos to Mike.
They made a playoff run with him, right?
Yeah, that was the famous year that Carmelo got stuffed at the rim by Roy Hibbert. Talking about iconic.
Let's move on to the Oklahoma City Thunder, which also starred Russell Westbrook, Steven Adams. When we think about Carmelo's career, we think about the Knicks, we think about the Nuggets, and more recently, I guess we would think about the Lakers just because that was the last team that he was on, but he also played for the Thunder. The run was very short, one season with the Thunder. After that, he played a season with the Rockets, maybe not even a season, but a short stint with the Rockets. And on that team was PJ Tucker, Chris Paul, James Harden. Had some talent there. Don't know what happened, but
Daryl Morey happened.
Yeah, good old Daryl Morey. We love Daryl.
Well, I think injuries, though, right?
No. They literally just did not like the way that he played and how
the chemistry.
Right.
Yeah. And then Trailblazers, he played with Dame. He played with CJ McCollum, who went on to play with Brandon Ingram. And then he ended his career with the Lakers. He came a season after. He came with 21-22 season.
Mm-hmm.
So that was recently, but that was 2 seasons after the bubble championship, I want to say. That was 2019-2020. You know, he ended his career with LeBron, Anthony Davis. When we remember Carmelo Anthony, we remember his greatness from the Nuggets to the Knicks. And although he didn't win an NBA championship, we remember him for being a Hall of Famer, you know, 4-time Olympian, 3-time gold medalist. I think he's one of them players where just because they don't win a championship doesn't take away from their greatness at all.
Agreed. 100%.
Yeah. And I would say this about the end of his career. He was still averaging 13 points a game. I'm surprised the Lakers didn't bring him back, and more surprising that he didn't find another place. Whether that was by his choice or not, he could have kept on playing.
He could give you a bucket. I think he still can give you a bucket right now.
Probably, if he had enough time to train.
Yeah.
He could have done kind of like Gary Payton did in Miami, gotten a chip.
Ring chase?
Ring chase, but there's also you can't predict who's good. No one predicted Denver to win it last year, right? It's hard to predict that year to year. Man, he played with everyone that last year. He played with so many MVPs the last run, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, James Harden. Yeah, he really. Yeah. It's interesting though, going through that list, Maurice, because he really, outside of Iverson, and Lucas is kind of right. J.R. Smith, who was his best second player outside of Iverson? Chauncey Billups was good.
Murray, maybe for one season.
But it is a bummer, going through that list, when he was past his prime, is kind of he finally got to play with these players. But
I think had he played with a really good defensive team, with either a great defensive unit or a great defensive center or a rim protector.
You mean the team that should have drafted him?
Yeah, I was about to say.
The Pistons, yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
Just to wrap it up, 309 wins with J.R. Smith.
That's not surprising.
I would have thought that too.
Him and JR were best buddies for it felt like 10 years, to be honest.
Yeah.
JR got
Smith
to
was good,
Denver
man.
in
J.R.
06.
Smith was good, man, on those Knicks teams.
Yeah, he was really good.
I wonder what prime J.R. Smith would look like in today's NBA, because he was such a heat check guy back then, and today's defenses being softer than what they were. You got to wonder what he could have done.
Yeah, I mean, he won a championship, right?
Yeah.
He was on that team.
Cavs.
And then he should have made an all-star team, I think, one of the years.
Now that we've set up the debate with all the facts on Brandon Ingram and Carmelo Anthony, it's time for you to make your case.
At this point, it's not about our opinion. It's about yours.
We'll see you on your favorite social media platform, ready to check out your takes. Chime in on our Instagram at NBA_NowAndThen_pod, on Twitter at NBA_NowAndThen, and on our Facebook page, NBA Now and Then.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening in. We'll check you out next time on NBA Now and Then, the greatest comparisons. Peace.
Later.
Have a good one, guys.